I'm Jackie Joseph Biddle, and I'm reading a selection from The Lone Ranger and Tonto's Fist Fight in Heaven, a Sherman Alexie book. It's a series of short stories. In the dark, my aunt and her husband were dancing. 30 years ago, and they two-stepped in an Indian cowboy bar. So many Indians in one place, and it was beautiful then. All they needed to survive was a drive home after closing time. "Hey, Nezzy," a voice cried out to my aunt. "You still stepping on toes?" My aunt smiled and laughed. She was a beautiful dancer, had given lessons at the Arthur Murray Dance Studio to pay her way through community college. She had also danced topless in a Seattle bar to put food in her children's stomach. Or all kinds of dancing. "Do you love me?" my aunt asked her husband. He smiled. He held her closer, tighter. They kept dancing. After closing time, they drove home on the back roads. "Be careful," my aunt told her husband. "You drank too much tonight." He smiled. He put his foot to the firewall, and the pickup staggered down the dirt road, went on two wheels on a sharp corner, flipped and slid into the ditch. My aunt crawled out of the wreck, face full of blood, and sat on the roadside. Her husband had been thrown out of the pickup and lay completely still in the middle of the road. Dead? Knocked out? Passed out? My aunt asked herself. After a while, another car arrived and stopped. They wrapped an old shirt around my aunt's head and loaded her husband into the back seat. "Is he dead?" my aunt asked. "Nah, he'll be all right." They drove that way to the tribal hospital. My aunt bled into the shirt. Her husband slept through a slight concussion. They kept him overnight for observation, and my aunt slept on a cot beside his bed. She left the television on with the volume turned off. At sunrise, my aunt shook her husband awake. "What?" he asked, completely surprised. Where am I?" "In the hospital." "Again?" "Yes, again. 30 years later, and they still hadn't paid the bill for services rendered."